Welcome to another edition of Testimony Time with me, Doug Harris, and I'm really glad to welcome back to Revelation TV my guest today. Welcome back because he has been on Classic Praise with Gordon, and Gordon said we've got to get this guy's story afterwards, and so welcome Jim Patterson. Thank you so much for coming back again.
I'm very happy to be back home. Feels good.
I mean, I feel like, because we've been sitting here chatting for the last 10 minutes or so, and,
Sure.
and I had all the stories. Very interesting life that you've had, and we're going to begin to get into that. Singing now, and we will play one of your songs during this show that that you recorded here in the studio. But Jim, start your testimony. Start with your early life and what it was like and what happened to you as a young child.
Yes, I always say that life was great till about the age of 12. I was born to a lady that wasn't married, wasn't a Christian, and things were very difficult at the time for her because people talked. Now, she kept me until the age of 3. At the age of 3, apparently my grandfather became very difficult, and she decided to put me up for adoption. That was all done. So from the age of 3 to the age of 12, I can say life was really idyllic. My adopted parents had a small farm. I couldn't wait to get home from school. School was up the lane, about, I suppose, 1.5 miles, 2 miles, up the lane and across the road. Couldn't wait to get home from school, so that I could change and get alongside my dad. My dad was one of those that everything he was doing, he would say, Jim, and in Ireland I'll use the Irish language, come here, come here. Now, I'm not trying to be the guy with the Wellingtons, but he would say, come here, let me show you this. And so I learned lots of things because my dad took the time to show me. I loved him, Doug. I was almost saying then that I idolized him, but in the right sort of way. He was a man that he would take me to Sunday school, he would take me to church, and it was fantastic. But unfortunately, he got septic poisoning in his ring finger, went to hospital to have the finger lanced, and I remember waving bye-bye to him and then looking out across the valley. This is in Northern Ireland, and folks listening and folks viewing may know of a place called Ballygolly. Somebody once said if you went to Ballymena with your Bally money, you could have bought a Ballycastle for your Bally home. Well,
okay, well, I'm glad I only said it once.
Ballygolly is in County Tyrone, about 25 miles or so from Belfast. And I remember looking across the valley and seeing the bus go by and thinking to myself, about an hour or so. And so every bus that came back, I was watching because I believed my dad would be on one of those buses. Well, the day went and it came to evening time, night time, and the reality is that Dad died in hospital, not from the septic poisoning, but his heart failed. And I never saw him again. And I wish I had it done, because I remember a little fella, I was 12 years of age, all these people behind this hearse, and I'm right beside it, and I'm thinking, you know, my dad's in there, and I never got a chance to say bye-bye and all of that.
What, as you say, up until that,
it was great.
Life was great. What began to happen in those weeks, months after your father's sudden death?
Well, I lost my dad, and then I lost the farm, and on the farm, you know, I had a pet dog, and I had a donkey. The donkey was called Jackie. Even the hens and the ducks, they all had names. The cows, everything had a name, you know. And then the farm was sold. Now that left me with a mother, bless her, and I have forgiven her years ago, years and years ago, because the Bible says if I don't forgive, I won't be forgiven.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to say the Lord's Prayer, because the Lord's Prayer says, Our Father which art in heaven. Then it says, please forgive me as I forgive those. So I've forgiven my adopted mother years ago. But the thing is, after Dad died, she became an angry person. I think she was angry with God. She was angry with her circumstances. She had lost a brother when he was 19. He was killed in a bike accident. And now she was left without a husband and left with this young boy growing up. She already had 3 girls, but they were all away, married, with their own families. And I think really, Doug, looking back, she did the best she could, but, she hadn't read the book that said you shouldn't hit your child around the head. You shouldn't strip your child at the age of 17 and beat it with a sally rod. A sally rod in Ireland, it's a thin rod, and boy, it hurts. When you get hit with that, it will leave a welt in your skin. I say again, I forgave her years ago, and I only use that to explain why life became so miserable for me, I decided to run away.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I didn't know all the ins and outs behind that. But you get to this point where, yeah, you can't stand it anymore, you run away, and you think you're going to run away to something better, but you didn't in the end, did you?
No, I didn't really. I came to England and, making a long story short, began to build this new life. Coming now 17, I was 17 when I ran away, so I'm now 17 and a half, 18 going on. Looking at the girls, when I look at them, something happens to the heart, you know, it begins to beat faster. I fell madly in love with one and got engaged, and then decided to join the regular army. And I signed on for 23 years, signed my life away.
Wow.
And everything really